Hello and welcome to my knowledge world. You're watching my YouTube channel, the Pushkar's Wiki. Today's topic is going to be very interesting. Have you ever wondered why Britain still has kings and queens? The British monarchy is one of the oldest in the world, full of drama, power struggles, and family rivalries. But don't worry, you don't need to be a historian to follow this. Think of it like a family story, where each chapter is ruled by a different family name called a dynasty or a royal house. A dynasty is simple. It's when kings and queens from the same family rule one after the another. When that family dies out or is replaced, a new dynasty begins. In Britain, some of the most famous dynasties were the Tudors, the Stuarts, the Hanoverians, and finally the Windsors, the family that rules today. The Tudors were like the beginning of modern Britain. They started with Henry VII in 1485, who ended a long civil war called the War of the Roses. His son Henry VIII is one you've probably heard of, the king with six wives who split England from the Catholic Church. His daughter Elizabeth I became one of the greatest queens in history, ruling during Shakespeare's time and making England powerful. But she died without children, and so the Tudor story ended. Next came the Stuarts, starting with James I. He was already the King of Scotland, which meant England and Scotland now shared the same ruler. But his son Charles I fought with the Parliament and was executed. For a short while there was no king, only Oliver Cromwell, but the monarchy came back with Charles II, the Merry Monarch, and then his brother James II, who was removed in what's called the Glorious Revolution, and power shifted more towards the Parliament. Later, his daughter Queen Anne was the last Stuart, yet again, no children to carry on the name. Then came the Hanoverians, a family from Germany, beginning with George I. At first, they didn't even speak English well, but slowly, Britain became less about the kings ruling everything and more about the parliament making laws, eventually leading to the formation of the past of prime ministers. His great grandson, King George III, lost the American colonies in the American Revolution. Later, Queen Victoria came to the throne, and under her, Britain became the most powerful empire in the world. The Victorian age is still famous for its culture, industry, and influence. The final chapter is of the Windsors, the royal family we know today. They were originally called the House of Saxe-Coburg and Gotha, but during World War I, the name sounded too German, so King George V renamed them as Windsors after the Windsor Castle. His son George VI led Britain during World War II, while his daughter Elizabeth II became the longest reigning monarch in British history, ruling for over 7 decades. And now we have King Charles III, who continues the Windsor legacy in current times. The Tudors. Our journey begins with Henry VII. In 1485, he defeated Richard III at the Battle of Bosworth, ending a bloody civil war known as the War of the Roses between the House of York and the House of Lancaster. To keep peace, he married Elizabeth of York, uniting two rival families. Henry VII brought stability, strong finances, and founded the famous Tudor dynasty. Next came his son Henry VIII, one of the most powerful kings in the English history. Strong, bold, and often ruthless, he had six wives, and when the Pope refused to let him divorce them, he broke the England from the Catholic Church and created the Church of England. This forever changed religion in Britain. After Henry VIII, his young son Edward VI ruled. He was only 9 years old when he became king, but sadly, he died just at 15 years in 1553. His short reign pushed England further into Protestantism. Then came Mary I, Henry's daughter by Catherine of Aragon, his first wife. She tried to bring back Catholicism and punished Protestants harshly. She was married to Philip II of Spain to strengthen the two countries' relations. She too ruled only a few years and died without children. Finally, Elizabeth I, daughter of Anne Boleyn, King Henry's second wife, took the throne. She never married and always called herself wedded to England and gave England one of its greatest ages, the Elizabethan era. This was Shakespeare's time, and England began to explore the seas, defeating the Spanish Armada in 1588 and gave the East India Company a charter in 1600 to legally trade with India and the world, leading to the arrival of the company in India. But Elizabeth II had no heirs, and with her death in 1603, the Tudor line ended. The Stuarts. Elizabeth left no heir, and the crown passed to her cousin James VI of Scotland, who became James I of England in 1603. Born in 1566, he united the crowns of England and Scotland, beginning the Stuart dynasty. Married to Anne of Denmark, James is remembered for commissioning the King James's Bible. He died in 1625, leaving behind a vision of union but also tensions with the Parliament. His son Charles I, born in 1600, believed deeply in the divine rights of kings. Married to Henrietta Maria of France, his rule brought clashes with Parliament, but Parliament resisted his taxes, policies, and religious disagreements fueled mistrust. Eventually, these clashes exploded into the English Civil War in the 1640s between the royalists of the king and the parliamentarians of the parliament. After years of fighting, Charles was captured, put on trial, and in a moment that shocked the world, executed in 1649. For the first time, England had killed its own king. What followed was a period unlike any other in British history. There was no monarch at all. The power fell into the hands of Oliver Cromwell, the leader of the parliamentarian army. He ruled as Lord Protector in what we call now as the Puritan Commonwealth. Cromwell was a strict Protestant who banned theatres, celebrations like Christmas, and much of the joyful life people were used to. Though he brought military strength and firm government, his rule was harsh and deeply unpopular. After Cromwell's death in 1658, the system quickly crumbled and people longed for their monarchy to return. The chance came in 1660 with Charles II, the son of the executed king. Born in 1630, he had spent years in exile, moving between European courts while England was under Puritan rule. When he finally returned, the people greeted him with joy. This event is called the Restoration. Charles II, known as the Merry Monarch, reopened theatres, encouraged the arts, and brought back music, dancing, and a more carefree spirit. He had no heirs with his wife Catherine of Braganza. His reign was not without challenges either. He faced disasters like the Great Plague of London in 1665 and the Great Fire of London in 1666. Yet his charm and easygoing personality made him popular. When he died in 1685, he left a legacy as a king who restored joy to a very nation. Next, the crown passed to his brother James II. James had fought bravely as a naval commander, but his deep Catholic faith soon alarmed a mostly Protestant England. He married twice, first to Anne Hyde, with whom he had two daughters, Mary and Anne, and later to Mary of Modena, a Catholic. When he had a son in 1688, the prospect of a Catholic dynasty pushed Parliament to act. In what's known as the Glorious Revolution, led by his daughter and son-in-law, James was overthrown without bloodshed. He fled to France, dying in exile in 1701, remembered as the last Catholic monarch of Britain. James's daughter Mary II took the throne with her husband, William of Orange, who became William III. Their joint rule began in 1689 and was groundbreaking, as they accepted the Bill of Rights, which limited royal power and strengthened the parliament. Mary was kind and popular, but she died of smallpox in 1694, leaving William to rule alone. William, though brave and determined, never remarried after Mary's death. He died in 1702. Together, William and Mary are remembered for turning Britain into a constitutional monarchy, with the king or queen could no longer rule by absolute power. After them came Queen Anne, Mary's sister. Anne was a devoted wife to Prince George of Denmark, but none of her 17 children survived to adulthood. Despite this sorrow, her reign achieved something historic: the Act of Union in 1707, which united England and Scotland into the single kingdom of Great Britain. Anne herself died in 1614, the last of the Stuarts, remembered as a queen who oversaw a new united nation. Thank you for watching my video. Hope you liked it. Stay tuned for watching the another part of this video where we will discuss about the Hanoverians and the Windsors. Thank you.